Hi guys, it's Mrs. Williams, and today we're going to learn about multiplying and dividing by monomials. So before we get started, make sure you have your note sheet, make sure you are both fit, and that you have checked your tech. Okay, remember, tabs are closed, electronic devices are put away, cell phones, don't answer them, and put headphones in so you're not as easily distracted. Okay guys, here we go. So multiplying and dividing by monomials. So remember, the first thing, let's remember what a monomial is. A monomial is a number, a variable, or a product of numbers and variables. Okay, so for example, let's see a couple examples. One example would be 3x squared is a monomial. 2x squared y is a monomial. The number 4 is a monomial. And x to the 5th is a monomial. All of those are monomials. So now let's see what happens when we multiply monomials. For instance, if we have 7 to the 3rd times 7 to the 2nd. Now remember, 7 to the 3rd means multiply 7 by itself 1, 2, 3 times. Okay, so all of this is your 7 cubed. And we're going to multiply that by 7 squared, which would be 7 times itself twice, or 7 times 7. Now when we do this, we say, oh, look at this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7s. That's 7 to the 5th power. Okay, so now look at those exponents. What did you do to the exponents from 7 cubed times 7 squared to get to 7 to the 5th? Okay, now let's look what happens when we have x's as the base. X to the 4th, remember, is x times x times x times x. X times itself 4 times. And x to the 3rd is x times itself 3 times. So x times x times x. So that gives us x to what exponent? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 x's now. That's x times itself 7 times, or x to the 7th. Again, look at the connection in the exponents. When we had x to the 4th times x to the 3rd, what do we do to the 4th and the 3rd to get to the 7th? When we had 7 cubed times 7 squared, what did we do to get 7 to the 5th? That's right. When multiplying powers with the same base, and remember the base is the bottom number, okay, just add the exponents. So for instance, in this example here, 4x squared times negative 2x cubed. Now here's the catch here, guys. We're going to do 4 times negative 2. What's 4 times negative 2? That's negative 8. Now we can look at the x squared times the x to the 3rd. We keep that base x and we add the exponents. What's 2 plus 3? That's 5. So our answer is negative 8x to the 5th. What did we do? We multiply the coefficients. That's the numbers in front of the variables. Okay? We multiply the coefficients and we add the exponents on like variables. Okay, let's try another one. I've got a few examples here. So here's the first one. 1/2 x squared y cubed times 4x to the 4th y. So the first thing we do is we multiply the coefficients. 1/2 times 4 is just 2. Now we're going to look at like variables. That's the x squared times the x to the 4th. So we keep the x, and what do we do to those exponents? That's right, we add them. 2 plus 4 is 6. So x squared times x to the 4th is x to the 6th. Now let's take a look. We have a y to the 3rd times a y. Now if there's no number written there, that's y to the 1st. So our bottom base is y. We have a cubed n to the 1st. So 3 plus 1 is 4. And here is our answer to the first problem. Okay, now the next one is a little bit different. See these parentheses? This negative 3x to the fourth has to be distributed to each part inside the parentheses. So we're going to do each one separately. And we do the coefficients. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. We keep the x. What's 4 plus 3? That's 7. Okay. Now we're going to take the negative 3x to the fourth and we're going to multiply it by negative 2x. And remember that x has an exponent of 1 when you don't see it. We multiply the coefficients first. Negative 3 times negative 2 is a positive 6. Now we've got x's, so I'm just going to write the x. We have a 4 as an exponent and a 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. There's our new exponent. Now we're going to take negative 3x to the fourth and we're going to multiply it by positive 1. So negative 3 times positive 1 is negative 3. And we have an x to the fourth and there's no x's over here. So we just have x to the fourth. And here's our answer for that problem. Good. All right, so the next one is pretty similar. And it's really very much like that one. It's actually shorter. But I want to show you that some people like to write the step that they're going to do 10 times AB times the 6A. They like to show that. And 10 times 6 is 60. A times A, they're both to the first, so we're going to keep that A, and 1 plus 1 is 2. And I have a B to the first, so that stays. Then they say, okay, wait, now I have to distribute that, so I'm going to write my 10AB, and I'm going to multiply it by negative 5b squared, okay? And now we would do the coefficients. 10 times negative 5 is negative 50. A, and there's no way to multiply it by, so it's still just A. Then we have a b to the first times a b squared. So what's the exponent on that? 1 plus 2 is 3. Now, it does not matter to me if you show me this step. That's up to you. There are some people who really like to use that step, but not everybody needs to, and that's okay. All right, the next one, you have to be careful here. This 2x squared is not being multiplied by anything. It just comes along down here on the next line. We don't do anything with it. What's being distributed, what's being multiplied is the negative 4. So negative 4 times 3x squared. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12, and we keep the x squared. Then we have to distribute the negative 4 times negative x. Well, that's a negative 4 times a negative 1. That's positive 4. And I have an x with only one exponent. Unfortunately, we're not done with this problem because we have 2x squared minus 12x squared. We can simplify that. 2 minus 12 is a negative 10x squared, and then we keep that plus 4x. Okay, so we needed to combine our like terms like we have been doing already in previous lessons. Okay, so far so good. So when we're multiplying monomials, we multiply the numerical coefficients. Then for the variables, for the same variables, we keep the letter and we add the exponents. What happens when we divide? So let's take a look at what happens when we divide. Let's look at 7 to the 5th divided by 7 squared. So 7 to the 5th, remember, is 7 times itself 5 times. 4, that's 5 sevens. Divided by 7 squared is 7 times itself 2 times. Now in division, whoa, look at that. In division, these 7s will cancel out and those 7s will cancel out. And what are we left with? How many 7s are left up there? 1, 2, 3. So that's 7 to the 3rd. Take a look at the exponents. We had 7 to the 5th divided by 7 squared. What did we do to the 5 and the 2 to get a 3 as our new exponent? Let's take a look down here. X to the 4th means multiply x by itself 4 times. Divided by x. What reduces? One set of those x's cancel out. What's left? How many x's are left in that top? 1, 2, 3. So we have x to the 3rd. Take a look at those exponents. This exponent is 4. That exponent is 1. What do you do to 4 to 1 to get the new exponent of 3? Okay, so when we're dividing powers with the same base, we subtract the exponents. All right, now, when we have constant coefficients along with the variables, we're going to divide the coefficients, and then we subtract the exponents on the like variables. So for instance, 25 divided by -5 is -5. Now we have x's. We have an x to the 5th divided by an x to the 1st. What's 5 minus 1? That's 4. So the answer to that division is -5x to the 4th. Very good. All right, next step. We're going to expand this, and we're going to divide a polynomial. So a monomial was just one term. The polynomial now we're going to divide by a monomial. So the first step is to take that big polynomial up top and break it up to divide each term in the, now I know it's the top, but I'm going to use the real word. That's the dividend. What you're dividing into is the dividend, which I'll put in parentheses the top, by the monomial in the bottom. Okay, so what we do is we take that 4x to the 4th and we divide by the bottom 4x. Plus, we keep the 12x cubed and we divide by 4x. Minus, we have 60x squared and we're going to divide by 4x again. Then we have plus 32x divided by that bottom 4x again. So what we have here is 4 mini problems added together. So it's what we were doing up top, just there's 4 of them that we're going to add the answers to. So okay, when we look at this, what happens? The 4's cancel out, so the numbers are gone. X to the 4th divided by x. So the base is x. Now we subtract the exponents. We have 4 and 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. Keep the sign, which was plus sign. 12 divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. We're going to keep the x. Now look at the exponents. 3 and 1. 3, x to the 3rd divided by x to the 1st. We do 3 minus 1 is 2, and we have x squared. Now we're going to keep the minus. 60 divided by 4 is 15. Now what happens to the x's? We have 2 up top and 1 in the bottom. 2 minus 1 is 1. Plus, now we have 32 divided by 8. 32 divided by 4. The answer is 8. Silly me. I was a step ahead of myself there. Now notice, x divided by x, those are going to cancel out. Because remember, the exponent here is 1 and the exponent here is 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0. And remember, x to the 0 is just 1. Okay, and 1 times 8 is just 8. So this answer is your final answer. Let's do one more, not quite as long, but one more like that. So we take the top and we break it up. 6x to the 7th, divide by the bottom 2x squared. Now minus, keep the top 2x cubed over 2x squared. Now we divide. Okay, so 6 divided by 2 is 3. Keep the x's. And we subtract the exponent. 7 minus 2 is 5. Minus, now we divide. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Keep the x's. Now subtract the exponent. 3 minus 2 is 1. So this is the answer to our division. 3x to the 5th minus 6x. All right, guys. So we finished that lesson for now. Okay, we looked at multiplying monomials. We multiply the coefficients. We add the exponents on like variables. For dividing monomials, we divide the coefficients. We subtract the exponents on like variables. If you have a polynomial divided by a monomial, break it up into the smaller problems, okay? So now don't forget, you need to write your summary at the bottom of your notes, and you need to formulate a question, whether it's a question that you don't know the answer to, or it's one that you need clarification on something, or if you want to discuss or delve deeper, or if you have a question that you think somebody else in the class would have after watching this. Okay, and then also don't forget to complete your post-video Google form. All right, guys, see you next class. Bye.